Welcome to the wonderful world of wine, exploring all things wine with you. We are your hosts, Kim Simone and Mark Lenzi, and you can find us on Facebook at The Wonderful World of Wine. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the wonderful world of wine. I'm Kim. I'm here with my co-host, Mark. How are you doing this week, Mark?
Everything's great, Kim. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Very excited to talk to today's guest, who is Kelly Axelrad, who is logging in all the way from California with us. How you doing today, Kelly?
I'm doing great. It is a beautiful day, cannot complain. And we're lucky enough in California to have about 75 degrees every day for a couple of months. And so I just couldn't be better. I'm just finally happy to connect with you guys.
Wonderful. Nice to hear from some folks on the other coast. And we always like to talk to our wine people who are from different places. So you are a winery owner as well as a very successful social media influencer. So we kind of wanted to talk about both of those aspects of what you're doing. But if you wouldn't mind giving our listeners a little bit of background about what got you interested in wine and kind of what you're working on these days.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started drinking wine at a young age. I was in college. I didn't have a sip of alcohol in high school. I got to college and where my friends were starting on like beer and anything that you would particularly make at a college, I just kind of immediately grasped to wine. I was sneaking, for a college student, decent bottles of red wine into the parties and kind of hiding it. And that just became my niche. And so I was right around 21 years old, legal age. And I've just always been a wine lover. And I kind of just over the years ended up taking that to the next level. For the last like 7 or 8 years, I spent a lot of time promoting other wineries all across California, Washington, Oregon, all the way to Europe. And everybody asked me, they're like, you're doing so much work for other wineries. They're like, you love wine. Why don't you build your own brand? And I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. And so about 7 years ago, I started thinking, what can I do? And what kind of wine do I want to make? And I was always coming out to the Napa Sonoma region where, as you know, the competition out here is a lot of really good Napa cabs and Pinots and just a lot of different varietals. And I, at that point, was drinking a lot of sparkling wine. So I kind of was like, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go a little bit outside lines and start a company that's going to focus 100% on sparkling wines, which is very different. There's only 9 wineries out of about 600 out here that have a sole focus on sparkling. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. So I came across, I was at a winemaker's dinner, and there was a winemaker there who was working for Stromsburg, which is a very well-renowned winery out here in Napa. And I kind of like let him know what I wanted to do. And within about 30 minutes, he said, you know what? I want to be your winemaker. He's like, I specialize in sparkling. I like where your head's at. And he's like, let's get this started. So that is kind of where Carnival began. And so we basically, that was right around 7 years ago, had the idea just to do all sparkling house. And so that's what we've been doing. And now I have about 5 different wines that are out. I have a Blanc de Blanc, two Blanc de Blancs actually. I'm coming out with my first Blanc de Noir in 6 months. I have a sparkling Brut Rosé that I made in 2021. My 2022 Brut Rosé came out as well as our first Solera that took about 4 years to make. So I'm super excited about that one. So I'm just really excited to get out there and sell some wine.
Very exciting for so many different styles of sparkling wine. It's my passion as far as my niche in the wine world. So I love hearing about producers who are, doing something new and kind of just starting up. And I like that you've got, you've sort of hit all of those major styles with the Blanc de Blanc, the Blanc de Noir. That's really cool to get to talk one-on-one with a brand new sparkling winemaker.
Yeah, we are the most recent sparkling house in the area. My winery is actually in Anderson Valley. So that's where I have my winemaker mix all the wines out in Anderson Valley. It's actually in the Boonville, Philo area. It's about an hour outside of Tillsburg, which I'm sure you've heard of. And we get all of our grapes from Sonoma Coast, Sonoma Mountain, a little bit of Petaluma Gap, which is all 3 very reputable areas. Very good climate. It's like perfect to make the perfect sparkling wines. We use just Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and then we blend those about 55%, 45% to produce the best sparkling wines that we can.
So you really are doing like a traditional blending and trying to focus on those cooler climates for your bubbles.
Absolutely, yes. We do a no dosage to a little bit of dosage
Wow.
and do all traditional champagne methods. So that's really fun too.
Very cool.
So, Kelly, it's finally great to have you on the show. I don't think the listeners understand how Kim and I bug people so much to get it on a show. But in your case, you travel so much, and we were always trying to get you on. And I read where you spent a lot of time in Boston and New Orleans. Have you had any formal wine education training, or did you just pick things up through your travels and tasting so much wine?
I honestly do it all by myself, like just from going to so many wineries over the years. I mean, I think I've probably been honestly 700 wineries at least. And kind of when I go to the tastings, I just really enjoy like listening and I pick up on a lot of what the winemakers say. The sommeliers come out and talk to me. So I kind of like just a little bit educating myself just by listening. I have not taken any proper exams. I'm not like certified. I've just done a lot of learning on my own. And people ask me all the time, they're like, oh, do you want to like become like a som? And just for what I do, unless I wanted to, really work into a restaurant or work in like a hotel, I don't really need it for what I'm doing. And so I don't know, maybe if I have a little bit of time, maybe in the near future, just for fun, I might take some classes just to like, become a little bit more knowledgeable. But as for now, I'm just kind of like a sponge. I just kind of like going places and yeah, I like listening to what people have to say and I just kind of like soak it in and I don't forget it.
It honestly is a great way to learn. Like there are sort of these two separate schools and some people overlap them where it's like, okay, let's do the book learning, but then, the experiential stuff where you're either working in the industry or you're traveling a lot and tasting and doing like food and wine when you're on your travels. I feel like both ways of learning contribute their own beneficial parts to the learning experience, and one isn't necessarily better than the other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then just I prefer to be out in the field. Like as you guys know, I'm lucky enough to spend about 5 months out of the year in Europe. And, I'll go to wineries out there and people will invite me and they know that I'm not a certified som, but they still are like, oh, we want you to come, we want you to take photos and we want you to write a little blog and we would love for you to do a little write up of our winery and post photos and videos. And, it makes them happy that way. And I'm happy to do that for them. I really love it. Like I love what I do. It's super fun. It keeps you on my toes. It keeps me busy. I am not a person that likes to sit around at all. I love traveling. People ask me all the time. They're like, aren't you exhausted? They're like, we saw that you got home from Spain Monday. And now we see Wednesday, you're back in Italy on another media tour. And I just don't mind it. I've really become like acclimated to traveling. I've kind of got it down. I don't get jet lag anymore. Like, I land my flight and I'm just ready. I hit the ground, ready to go. They're like, are you sure you don't want to nap? And I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm like, let's do this. Let's have some fun. Let's get out there. I want to learn about your winery. I want to learn about your terroir. I want to drink the great wines that you produce. And, I want to spread the word because I'm just, I'm a believer in promoting other people and I do it. And a lot of the interesting thing is a lot of people that do this, they do it as a job and they actually like make income off of doing this. And that's one thing people ask me all the time. They're like, oh, we want to talk to you and like, how much do you get paid? And I'm like, you know what? Like I do this for fun. Like I love it so much. I do it out of my own goodwill. I don't charge wineries. I don't charge brands and just something that I have a passion for. So it's like, if I can help somebody out and I can help them build their brand and I can help get them customers and promote the word, whether again, it's in Priorat region. I was just out in Spain and Casa de Leon for the last 2 weeks. And, I just wanted to go. They asked me and they say, do you want to come? And we want you on this wine tourism media tour. And I'm like, let's do it. I'm like, look at my calendar. I'm like, yep, I'm free. I'm happy to do it. So yeah, I spend a lot of time doing that and I really enjoy it. So it's fun.
I don't know what I get more jealous of, your travels, owning a winery, but the social media thing. I have so many questions for you about all you do in social media.
I have answers.
How did you get from good? So how did you get from a girl drinking wine in college to the point where you have 26,000 social media followers and you're attending the World Influencer Awards? How does that happen?
Yeah. Well, it's really, I don't know. It's just really funny. So yeah, I went from actually when I started, I had about 26,000 and now I have about 175,000. It's just fun. And I really get lucky. And a lot of the ways I get a lot of people to follow me is I try to come up with creative posts and I try to make things that are stand out a little bit. And they're a little bit different than just me just like sitting in my kitchen with a plate of pasta and a bottle of wine. Like I like to go out into the vineyards and I actually like think about it for sometimes it's days. Like I'll look at a winery and I'm like, where can I go and get a creative photo with good lighting and maybe on a tractor? If you followed a lot of my stuff, I like to climb on things. I like to be in the barrel. I like to just kind of like step outside of the box and do a little creativity. So yeah, I do that. And I think that it's something that people thankfully have enjoyed. And I really appreciate that. And I appreciate the people that want to like follow it and think that it's just super neat and it's a little bit different and something that stands out. And again, I have a really fun time doing it. I want to even do it more. Like sometimes life gets in the way and I'll have a list of like maybe right now I have probably a list of 30 wineries that are waiting on photos. And then sometimes it does, like I'll get a little busy and it takes me a little bit of time to like, I want to come up with a perfect caption and of course the perfect photo and the lighting. So, but what I do and I kind of set days, I'll be like, all right, Monday morning, I'm going to get up, I'm going to write this blog for my favorite winery of the week and post a photo and gives them a lot of attention. And then they'll share it as well as some really reputable wine sites out there that I'll get lucky enough to where they'll enjoy the photos and the posts. And so they'll post it on their own and I'll be like, oh, like this is great. Like it makes me like feel good when other people like the content that I'm putting out there.
This certainly sounds like a job to me. You're sort of talking about it like, oh, this is what I do in my free time. But yeah, it's very organized and you sounds like you handle it very professionally.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like to try to keep it on the professional side. That's one of my main goals as well, especially the wine business. Like wine is classy. So I just try to keep things that like stay up there on the same scale of wine and like what it has to offer. And, I also find the fun in it. And I love how wine, I told you guys a couple weeks ago, it just more than just wine, like it's drinking and it's like bringing people together and it's like good connections. And like, there's really nothing bad to say about wine. Like the way it's made, the taste, like the enjoyment of friends, the socializing, having it with food, just all of it. I just can't say enough great things about wine.
And you mentioned your creation process and how you're always thinking of things. Now, how do you balance a business, your family, to make time? Do you ever get stressed out? Like, for instance, just doing social media for my retail, I feel like, oh, Halloween, this is coming, this holiday's coming. I have to get those posts ready. Do you have like stress that you get it done, or you just relaxed and taking your time doing everything?
No, I will tell you, there are definitely days where I'll go through the weekend and I'm like, all right, this winery, they're waiting on me. They want this post Monday. And there's definitely days where wake up and I'm like, oh, I don't have the perfect caption. And then one thing I like to do as a content creator, which is really does a well job for social media. When you post a photo, you're kind of supposed to spend about an hour enjoying other people's photos. And then like I get a lot of comments back and I like to take my time. Usually what I'll do is I'll just have a coffee and I'll set my phone up and I post a photo and I know it's going to get a lot of feedback. And I'm definitely that person that's going to spend about an hour to two right away. I want to reply to everybody. If somebody asks me about the wine or how did you discover this place or say, oh, this is a great photo. And like, what was your favorite wine at this one winery? I like to be on my toes and I like to write them back right away. I don't wait days. I don't wait weeks. I like to give the viewers like what they want. And I really do like to have a very good line of communication. So sometimes it's a little stressful because that does take hours. But again, like it's really fun and it is a hobby and it is something that I could create into more of a job. I mean, I have a lot of friends that do things like I do. And a lot of people, even around California, like they ask me, they're like, oh, what do you charge to walk into a winery? Like, what's your media kit? And they're like, you have like, 100,000 followers. They're like, you don't charge. And I'm like, no, do you charge? And they're like, we won't walk into a winery for less than $1,500. And I'm just like, that's just not me. I don't know if I'm too shy, but I don't know. I just believe in karma. So, my wine business is going great. And I think kind of like what I'm putting out there in the universe, like helping other people and trying to do a good job promoting them, it just goes around, comes around. So again, like I do it for fun.
Do you feel like the work that you've been doing on social media for other wineries has brought the visibility of your own personal winery in front of more people?
I could do a little bit better at that because not really. No, I actually, I'll go to a winery and they might just specialize in like Pinot and Chardonnay, a little bit of Syrah. And if I do a post for them, like I solely talk about their wines.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna like in the future, especially now that I have two beautiful wines that just came out. Oh, I do need to maybe take a little bit of step back on my at Kelly Axelrad page, focus a little bit on my own wine brand because now I have about 3,500 cases that I need to sell, and and that's
Time to
another.
shift gears.
Yeah, yeah. So that's another thing. I sell all my wine by myself. I like in Louisiana, I do have to have a distributor. Being from New Orleans, they do spread a lot of my wine. It's called Carnival. I'm from there, like in the spirit of Carnival and Mardi Gras. So for the New Orleans labels, they're all New Orleans inspired, like pictures around town of Mardi Gras, just like beautiful scenes from New Orleans. So yeah, so I do need to do a little bit more for my own brand. Like sometimes people are like, girl, you need to focus a little bit on your brand. Like you're working for free for everybody. So
Well,
yeah,
you
so I
certainly do
do.
bring that like visual, colorful party sort of a feel to the labels for your wines because when you see the visuals for your winery, they really pop and they really bring that like fun sort of flair to wine, like you were just talking about.
Yeah, they are fun, and I can't wait for you to see the ones that I came out with the last couple weeks. They're also beautiful. I changed a little bit, so there was a little bit of discrepancy on the. A lot of people out here may have not understood some of the labels that were more New Orleans related, and so a couple of places that I've gone to, they're like, "Oh, we love this Blanc de Blanc, we love this Brut Rosé," but they didn't understand. They're like, "Okay, on your Brut Rosé, there is a trash truck," which they don't understand. I'm like, no, that's called the street sweeper. It's a huge thing in New Orleans. I'm like, after every single parade, basically on Bourbon Street, they bring out this big truck and it's called the street sweeper. So there was a couple of places out here that are like, we want to put this wine, they're on the shelves. And we want everybody to buy it. And they didn't understand that. Now, I have got lucky enough. I did spread that wine all around. I got lucky. I did spread that wine all around California. But for the last two wines, I did make wine labels that were a little bit more, my friends out here in California would understand. I lived in Manhattan Beach the last 10 years before moving here 2 years ago. So I just created a beautiful label. The same artist that did my other labels came out to Manhattan Beach and he did a gorgeous photo of the Manhattan Beach Pier. And then he made a beautiful piece of art for my house. And then I put that on the label. So I'm just really, that's one. So that's the Solera. It's called lagniappe, which is a very famous New Orleans term that means a little bit extra. So the Solera wine, we kind of blended the best of all of our wines together. It took about 4 years to create, and that's going to be the Manhattan Beach Pier label, which is stunning. And I'm heading down to LA next week. I'm going to be working with a very big wine festival. So I'll be in the VIP tent selling that wine, hopefully getting a lot of promotion on that wine in the South Bay, California area. So I'm excited about that.
You're listening to The Wonderful World of Wine, and we are your hosts, Mark Lenzi and Kim Simone, exploring all things wine with you. Our program is supported by Franklin Public Radio, located right here in Franklin, Massachusetts. Today, our special guest is Kelly Axelrad. Kelly is a social media influencer and a winery owner. You can find her on her websites, Carnival Wine Co. .com. On Instagram, it's Carnival Wine Company, and Kelly is at Kelly Axelrad on Instagram. Our website is thewww.wine, and you can find us on all social media at The Wonderful World of Wine. So, Kelly, we're talking about the Carnival Wine Company, and there's no distribution in Mass. So, how can our listeners locate your wines? I know you have a wine club, correct?
I do have a wine club. So I did one of my first wine club parties down in Louisiana, where I'm from, and had it was very fun. I had a bunch of my old friends from college come out, and they were so cool. They loved the wine. Every single person at the party joined the wine club. And that was about a year ago. So now in the next few weeks, I'm very excited to ship them out the two new wines that have come out. So as far as Boston, I did live in Boston for about 6 years. And I will say, you guys are so lucky. That is my favorite state of Massachusetts and my favorite city. And I don't have a distributor there yet, but I have a lot of friends that own restaurants, as well as I actually am part owner in two restaurants called A&B Burgers in Boston. So that's one of my next markets to get into, just because as far as getting a distributor, it's a little bit hard. So what I like to do is find the restaurants first. So if I can find restaurants and wine shops as hotels that want to pick up the wine. That's my first step. And then I will go the extra mile and get the distributor. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting the wines out there just because Boston is just really deep to my heart. I love it there. My daughter grew up there. I lived there, like I said, for about 6 years. I am heading there tomorrow to check on a couple things, go to a couple restaurants, check on my own restaurant. So yeah, Massachusetts, I'm glad you asked that question because that is on my list.
Yeah, it's a good approach too. Getting it into the restaurant wine list makes it a lot easier for the wholesales to say, "Yeah, we'll take you on," right?
100%.
It is such a hard part of the industry for winemakers to get into. And I know that we've spoken to a number of producers who one of the barriers to their getting their wines in front of a new market is that distribution network. So I'm glad that you're finding kind of other ways to get around it. But it's definitely one of the complex things about our industry.
Yeah, it really is. Like the distributorship, it's a little tricky. And like I much prefer, like I got really lucky in California. So since I own the company here in California, it's amazing. I don't have to go through any distribution company, which is great because I can sell the wine directly to my customers at restaurants and hotels for wholesale. Whereas the distributor, they have to mark it up. So if I give them one price, they jack it up another $20. It just makes it a little more difficult for everybody to make money.
Kelly, I noticed that the wines are sustainable. What are you seeing for the trend in sustainability in California? Was it very important
Yeah.
to you to be sustainable?
It is, and it's very common around here. I mean, I would say probably 95% of the wineries out here are sustainable farming. People, especially places like California, people just tend to like want to like run towards that. It just the taste is great, like the grounds are great. We love to, I don't know, we love to promote just the region, and we love to promote like sustainable, high quality farming. People just love it, and it's just kind of what a lot of people do. So I kind of like, even though where I like to be a little bit edgy and I like to do different things, like that's just one thing I'm gonna continuously stick with.
Certainly does seem to be the trend kind of in an overarching way, not just in California, but in many other places in the world as far as wine growing. We
Exactly.
definitely are seeing this, move towards more environmentally friendly or sustainable practices because it's really hard to grow a grapevine. They
Yeah.
take a while to mature. You can't just set it and you sort of set it and forget it, but you have to take care of that land for that fruit. And it's agriculture, it's farming. You take care of your spot.
Yeah. 100%.
So talk more about your winemaker in where you're sourcing the grapes from. Did you go through a lot of different vineyards to find your source or different winemakers to find perfect person for your company?
Yeah, so like I said, got lucky enough with a great winemaker named Sean Phillips. We send him out in advance, a few months before harvest. He will go out and, he tests the grapes, he tests the vines. He continues to go out there like on a weekly basis and just to see how things are coming along. We do make the wine, like I said, in Anderson Valley, but we get all of our wines from 3 different vineyards in Sonoma Coast, Sonoma Mountain, and a little bit of Petaluma Gap. And for the last like 3 or 4 years, we've had really good success with these vineyards. So we stick with them. And yeah, they've made great grapes for us each year. Buyers that have been out here every few years haven't been really close to our vineyards, so we haven't had to worry about smoke testing or anything such as that. So we've got really lucky, knock on wood. I'm glad to be a little bit cooler climate, so we don't have to worry so much about the fires, which unfortunately a lot of people out here do more on the other side of Sonoma, closer to Napa. So yeah, I'm really pleased that we've been really lucky over the last 4 or 5 years with that.
I wanted to ask you, this is sort of one of those questions that Mark and I sort of ask people every once in a while. What has been one of your, say, favorite experiences over the last year or two doing the things that you do, since you seem to wear an awful lot of different hats?
Well, let's see. So obviously owning a winery is super fun. I mean, it is like it's a passion project. Some people are like, "Oh, do you want to say that?" Like it takes a pretty penny and it takes a lot of hard work to make a successful winery. And wineries, a lot of owners like myself out here, it's going to take years and years to even like see any money. And even if in the future, if I just break even, like it's just something I love to do. So that is one of my top things. And then we touch base on them, and I'm really, really enjoying the traveling. Like I love getting asked to go on trips. I rarely turn them down. Like I will go to Europe for a month, and while while I'm over there, like I will have people like see that I'm out in like Prior Red or any region, Rioja. And while I'm over there, they'll be like, oh, would you like to extend your stay for an extra week? And, we're going to have a tourism company. We'll come pick you up and we'll get you a driver. And even if it's by myself, like I don't mind, like I love doing solo travel and I just don't turn it down. I am just like happy a little bit. It's a little bit hard sometimes with a language barrier, but I've gotten really lucky. A lot of places that I go, if I'm the only English speaking person, they will get me a translator. And I did a trip 2 years ago to a region in Spain, and it was a little bit hard. I was the only person. There was about 18, 20 of us, and I was there for a week, and it was very remote, beautiful winery, but I was the only person that spoke English. So it was a little bit hard. So,
Yeah.
they're pointing to food. They're like, do you like this? And I'm like, oh, is that anchovies and tomatoes? Yes. Anything they make me, like 7 in the morning, and they have like big, beautiful, like prosciutto sandwich and jarbone and ham. And, I'm not picky. So I will eat anything. Like I will drink any of their amazing grapes. And yeah, so I really would say like the wine has been really fun. And now I'm doing a little bit of promoting like tourism in other countries as well. So sometimes it might not be just wine. Like on this last trip that I was invited to by a great company called, Influencers, they had me in a different city every single day for 7 days. And we did go to 2 or 3 wineries a day, but in the middle, I went to the history of the modern museum, and I went to this amazing place where they make all the charcuterie in the world. And I got so lucky to have a wine tasting I can't even explain it. It was really crazy. It was me and about 5,000 pigs upside
Oh,
down.
oh, there you go.
Hanging. Yes, it was a little intense. It took a little bit of time to get used to the smell, but we did our entire wine tasting in the fridge while they were in the process of making charcuterie. And they had little pieces of little pieces of meat, little pieces of cheese, and we did a whole food pairing. So yeah, just things that I'm doing are becoming really interesting and really fun. And I'm just always willing to step outside of the box and try something different. So I'm just, I don't know, I'm down for a challenge. Like I love it. Anywhere that a company wants to send me, I'm very, very happy to go. And I'm probably not going to say no.
So, Kelly, I want to tell our listeners when they start following you, or if they are following you, they're going to notice that you're always so comfortable and confident when you're doing a post and happy, like you said, and you sounded. What's the advice for people who want to create some sort of beverage industry content? What's your best tip for them involving social media? Just
Yeah,
to
you
be
know what?
yourself? Or?
I really love that question because I just feel like a lot of people that I know, even a lot of my good friends, they get a little discouraged and they get a little stressed out about posting and they get a little worried if someone's going to like it. And I just try to tell them to be more themselves. Like it's not, you don't always have to make the most professional post. Like if you see what I've done, like I try to make things a little funny. I try to do things on the light side. I, want to make people laugh. I want to come up with a caption that's like a little bit catchy and it's a little bit funny. I like to, bring a little bit of been a very, very outgoing person since I was a little child. I'm always in theater. Like I did a lot of acting. I love that stuff. So I just kind of like, I tell my friends, like always, I'm just like, you need to make this fun. Like don't make posting hard. Like you should just do what you want. Like do something that's like yourself. If there's a winery, if you don't like the wines, you know what? Like kindly say, this isn't, I really didn't find myself, comfortable with this, or this isn't something I want to promote. Like don't promote things that you don't really feel strongly about. Just I think it's really all about like enjoying what you do and being able to talk about things that you love.
You don't seem like a lot of your posts. You're out there in the public. There's people all around you. You don't seem phased at all about creating content wherever you are. Do you ever get feedback or see people like looking at you like, what the heck is this woman doing? Or
Oh my goodness, all the time. And I do have a theme for my photos that you've noticed. I'm always the only one in it. So there's sometimes I might have to go back to a winery early in the morning just to not have someone in the photo. But in retrospect, if I might have a fun little audience, I don't mind. I think it's kind of fun. Like I will go out into the vineyard. I have other people taking photos while I'm taking photos. I'm out there slinging wine. Me, I might do a cartwheel. Like I've never really been a shy person. So if I just come up with an idea in my head, even if it's at the last second, confident. I'm just going to do it. It's going to be fun. And if people want to watch it, the more the merrier. I think that even might make me a little more, it might make me a little more excited to do something a little bit more fun and a little more creative, to be honest.
I think that's your acting coming out. It's like you're on stage.
Yeah, but it sometimes is a stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are obviously times where, I'm like, oh, this is the perfect, right here, this is like the perfect grapevines, and there might be people to my left and to my right, and I'm just like, you know what, we're gonna make this fun. We're gonna make everybody happy, and I'm gonna still try to come up with something that I like and that other people are gonna think is cute and clever, and so yeah, just that's kind of what it's my niche. It's fun, and I'm very comfortable doing it, and I have a great time with it. So not planning on stopping anytime soon.
One of the things Kim and I talk to our listeners about all the time is to try to educate that there's big brands out there in the wine world, and there's the small family wineries and the stories of wines like yours. When people approach you to say, Kelly, will you talk about our product? Will you promote our product? Do you look at it and say, and see if they're the story you like, or it's too big of a brand that you don't want to promote? Or do you have thoughts like that when people approach you?
Yeah, well, for me, it's just, I honestly would not have, if I tried to promote every person that reached out to me, every company that reached out to me that said, love to comp you and 6 of your friends for a tasting, but we want 2 posts in a week and 10 stories. I'm like, that actually would stress me out. I'm like, I'm not that great at deadlines. I've had companies, send 6 bottles of wine, and they're like, all right, we're going to get this wine on Monday and we want to post on a Wednesday. And I just can't do it. Like, I don't really work under stress. Like, I don't like that. Like, that's not really my style. People, if they want to send wine, I'm like, send the wine. I am happy to drink it. I'll make stories. I will put your link up at no cost. Like, I love doing that for people, but to actually like have to come up with the time for the perfect post and the perfect photo that's clever, I unfortunately can't do that all the time, even though I would love to. I would love to.
That's one of the things I find hard about doing social media too. It's like the schedule, being on target.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just if you saw like the last trip that I went to Spain, even when I was in Spain, my other friends, they'd go home at night and they would lay in bed at like midnight till 3 making a post. And I just like I couldn't do that. Like, I have a lot of pictures to post from that trip, but I needed to sleep. It was very long days in Spain. When I got home at midnight, there was not a chance I could take 2 or 3 hours at the end of the night to make a photo and a great post. So I told the company, I'm like, my posts are gonna come, but it might take a month for me to get 5, 6 really good posts up. And I really owe it to the company that invited me on this trip. It was probably my top media trip. If you saw, we had the awards gala. I got really honored, and I was just super blessed. I wasn't even expecting this, guys. Like, I went over there to have fun. I was one of 5 friends from the United States that got brought to Spain for this trip and left with a top nomination as 1 out of 5 top in the world in wine style category. And when I saw my name and pictures come on that screen. This gala is basically like the wine Oscars, like, of the world. And I just happened to be recording because it was such a beautiful show. So I was recording at the theater, and all of a sudden I see myself pop up there. And it was like, Kelly Axelrad, 1 in 5 top wine influencers in the world in the category of wine style. My mouth just dropped. And I was sitting with a group of my European friends, and everybody turned around, and it was so great because everybody had their phones out and everybody took videos. And that was a really highlight of that's something that's really pushed me to keep going. And so I was like, you know what, now I want like a really good year because I want to go back to this event next year and do the same thing and get the same award. Like, it was really awesome.
That's amazing. Well, good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I recently saw an article, Kelly, about the TTB and social media influences. Are you familiar with any of these things that coming up with these regulations about advertising? Have you ever been approached with any of that or been concerned about any of that with the TTB?
No, I'm actually not so much into that. I've seen a little bit, I've read a little bit about it, but that's kind of, I don't really think I'll probably be getting too much into that style. So not so much.
What do they tell? Like, do you have people that tell you, yeah, we want you to promote this product, this brand, but we don't want you drinking it, or we don't want you doing this? Do you ever get that request? Like, you can't do this. We don't want to get in trouble. You doing this or that?
You mean people actually send wine and tell people not to drink it? Yeah, I probably
Well, I
wouldn't
mean,
do that.
in the video or something, something like that. Years ago there was always
Oh,
the
sure,
old
sure, sure.
you can't drink it on TV and this and that. It seems like they're starting to crack down on the social media posting too to bring those regulations somehow in.
Well,
Have
I've
you ever
seen a
gotten
little bit of
requests like that?
I may have gotten like a few requests like that, but like for me, it's like if I'm going to talk about the wine, I want to be tasting it. I want to like let people know what I think about the wine, whether it's delicious or maybe it's not up to my par, but maybe other people that like that style, and I would still love to promote it for other people that like that. But yeah, if I was doing an ad, I would probably want to be sipping on the wine, talking about it. I think it makes much more sense for the brand for people to try their product.
Do you feel there's any sort of age group that you're reaching out to more, that you're grabbing more attention from?
I have, so every now and then, like I'll check my insights. So people that follow me and watch my wine stories and the things that I do from the ages of like 25 to 50. I would say my main age range is about 35, about 80% of the people that watch what I do are from the United States, about 25% Europe. So I pay attention to that a lot. I think it's really fun to see like, oh, who's watching what I do? I love that. I kind of keep up with that. That kind of keeps me on my toes. It's fun.
Yeah, when in all your travels, you seeing the trend that you're not seeing as many younger generations at wineries or interested in wine? Do you see
Yeah,
that trend?
absolutely.
You do.
Absolutely. And I think absolutely. And I think we're all a little bit worried about that. I was talking with a couple of people yesterday and they were talking about Australian wine, and they were talking about how last year, I forgot how many, I don't know. I think they were talking about maybe 400 acres of wine that got sold to this one company last year, and in 1 year, they only bought half. So like
Mm.
their wine sales in 1 year went in half, and it's kind of a little bit sad. Out here in Sonoma and Napa as well. I was speaking with somebody a few weeks ago, and this year only about half of the grapes got harvested out here. So I do feel like with a lot of other drinks coming out, unfortunately, besides wine, especially the younger generation, they're just not drinking as much wine these days. I don't know if it's probably around this area, it is a little bit more of the price. There's places in Napa that they've made their wine and they've made their wine experiences just too expensive.
Mm.
I'm talking, if you go to a well-renowned winery now in Napa, they might charge $250 just for a tasting. And that tasting will give you about 4 sips. And they kind of price the tasting by the price of their bottle. So if you're going for a $250 tasting, that's about what their bottles cost. And 25, 30-year-olds, they're not spending that on wine these days. So it's kind of killing the industry.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to bring up, that it's not just like changing tastes, but that, those experiences can be expensive. And then if you have a daily wine habit, that also gets pretty pricey.
Yeah, it's very pricey. I mean, I love Napa. I live over on this side in Sonoma, and the wines are just delicious. And the people that come in from other states, other countries, when they ask me where to go, everybody just hears Napa Valley. And I'll say, hey, look, you guys, like, let me tell you, like, I live in Sonoma County, and I can give you a list of great wineries over here. And over here, you might pay $35 for a tasting, and it's going to be a little more fun. And, if the tasting includes 4 or 5 wines, they're going to give you a little extra. And $35 wine experience, that starts at about a $35 bottle, which is, that's very, very, very way it's just a better deal. I mean, and the wine for the price, I mean, it's very, very good quality wine. So I've been steering a lot of people to this area lately.
Well, it's been great having you. I hope our listeners find you, follow you, check out your
Absolutely.
wines. I think this is a side we've never talked about or to our listeners
I love
about,
it.
the whole social media side of wine and the promotion of wine. So I'm glad we got the chance today.
I'm so glad. I mean,
Thank you for listening to us today on The Wonderful World of Wine. We have been your hosts, Kim Simone and Mark Lenzi, and with our special guest today, Kelly Axelrad. You can find us on all social media at The Wonderful World of Wine and on our website, www.wine. We are supported by Franklin Public Radio in Franklin, Massachusetts, and you can find Kelly on Instagram at Kelly Axelrad and on her website, carnivalwineco.com. Cheers!
cheers.
Wine, wine, wine.